So this is part 2 of the Cubism analysis. In the first video I sketched out this Juan Gris image, and so now I'm going to use these coloured pencils to try to match some of the colours. Now I have the exact colours, so I'm going to do a little bit of layering to try and get sort of the same colours, but I don't really want to spend too much time on it, so it may end up not looking exactly the same, but you'll get the idea. So I'm starting with this sort of warm yellow, and wherever I can see it, I'm just going to basically block that in. So I'm not going to press as hard as I could, because I'm intending to layer some colour on top of this. If you press really, really hard, sometimes with some colours, you can't really layer very clearly on top. It's quite nice to not press as hard so you get a little bit of the the paper surface showing through. So I'm not pressing as hard as I could, but I'm pressing quite hard, sort of like an in-betweeny press of hardness. So just sharpening my pencil, because I'm just going to do the strings of the musical instruments. So all I'm going to do there is I've left them white, I've not coloured them in. Here I'm just going over that yellow to try to make it a little bit darker. It's not very successful, so just going over with a little layer of brown. Where it's black, I'm just going to go in and put the black bits. But I don't know if you can see, but there is a light detail, a brown detail of the guitar. So I've just put that in first before I start shading all of the black in. Okay, so I'm really pressing hard to get a nice solid black here. And again, I'm just rotating my page because it's easier to colour with some precision if you keep rotating your piece of paper. Okay, so just adding that bit of detail, and then I'll move on. Okay, so then putting some of the brown bits in, and again, I haven't got the right brown, but I could layer a little bit. I probably would do if I was going to spend a bit longer on this. Again, I'm not pressing super hard to start off with, until I'm happy that I've got it in the right place and that my edges are neat. And I'm going over, first of all it was a warm brown, and this is a cooler tone brown I'm going on the top with. So it's probably as good as I'm going to get with these colours. Just tidying up that black. Okay, put the black detail in and then adding more of the yellow. And again, I know this is quite dark, this black, so I can press really hard. So I don't know if you can see, but I'm trying to avoid the white strings. I'm not colouring on top of them. So now going in with a little bit more pencil pressure to make that yellow a little bit more solid. And then trying to get this wood grain effect, so it's just some dashes, some brown dashes, and then again I'm going over that with the yellow. I realised that I'd drawn that line too high, so always having the rubber ready for in case we need to sort out any mistakes. So I've put the wood grain effect in yellow, and I'm just going to have to colour around that bit of the wood with my brown. So you'll see that I'm lightly, first of all, colouring over the whole of the area, avoiding the yellow bits, just working out where my colour's going to go. And I will go in with some darker brown in a minute to help those yellow wood grains to stand out a little bit more. So it's a case of layering your colours. I am putting some black in. I'm going to go quite solid at the bottom, but it actually blends. He's used some paint to sort of blend the black into the yellow. So I've tried to do that by putting less pencil pressure on the black to get a sort of a grey effect, and then colouring over it with the yellow. And I'm going to do that again here at the bottom. And then again at the top, there's a little bit of a grey shadow. So I'm putting some light sort of black in there, just very lightly pressing. And I will be going over that with the yellow in a minute to make it blend in a bit more. So just trying to get that yellow to look a little bit more like the original. and then coming in again with the brown, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm actually colouring around all of my little wood grain shapes to get it looking a little bit more like the original. And then going over it with the cool brown as well. And then adding a little bit of grey to create some shading. And then I decided that I was just I'm not going to do the whole thing, as I said, but I'm just going to do some key parts, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of light shading everywhere else, just to achieve that sort of tonal effect, the the shadow effect that you get with cubist pieces of work, like one piece of one part of the painting lying on top of the other, and it creates a shadow effect. So I'm just trying to go in there and do that, just sort of really lightly to suggest it, rather than making it look like a photographic representation. So I'm more or less there. I'm happy with that. I'm quite happy to finish on that. So you can see I've used a number of different tones in my shading and tried to get it as similar as I could